This is the second part of my discussion on uses of the network diagram as a model. In this part of the discussion, we're going to talk about leveling resources or leveling manpower. Again, we're using a simple diagram that I had developed earlier for the crashing demonstration I did. But now we're going to look at resource leveling. The first thing you need to do is to draw a diagram, and you see these diagrams in our textbook. And I've drawn one here, and it's called the time scale diagram. And they're very simple to draw. And basically, what you're doing is squashing the arrow diagram down into a bar chart of type. You can see the first thing I did was to draw the critical path as a single line across the chart. This cannot change normally. That line we normally do not change because otherwise we would extend the project. So that is fixed on the diagram. The next thing I draw on there is the non-critical activities. You can see I've arranged them above the critical path. It could be below, it's arbitrary. I started each activity on the early start, as you see there. Now the numbers you see in the parentheses are the resources required. To make this simple, that could be simply persons, manpower, person power. And you see I have them in parentheses. That's to distinguish them from duration times. And also along the bottom here, you see I have labeled the time scale, starting with time 0 here at the left and proceeding to the right all the way out to day 12. Then what I did was I added the resources each day of the project. And you see as I added the two together here, these two activities, if they start on time as scheduled, we will be using 10 people or 10 men the first day, 10 men the second day, 10 men the third day, and then 8 men the fourth day, 8 men, and then it goes up to 9 again, and then it goes down to 5, and then wraps out the project as one resource person to wrap the project up. Now, that's a little bit of a bump there, not a big problem, but in many cases the increase in resources could be great. So what I'd like to do is try to reduce that 9 to a lower number so that this has a smooth decline in resource demand as we move through the project. And so I've done a simple change here. I have redrawn this bar chart now, as you see before. And now what I've done is I've delayed one of the non-critical activities. Now I can do that because this squiggly line in here is actually the float. This indicates how many days of float I have, which are 5 days. So I have 5 days I can use for other purposes. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to use one of these days right here. And I'm going to delay that activity 7-9, by 1 day. And then my resources will look like this. It'll start out with 10, 10, 10, 8, then drops down to 5, 5, 5, then 1 through the rest of the project. So I have eliminated that one little peak there from that 1 day in the earlier diagram, which I showed you before, where it went up to 9 workers. That's the simple idea. It's really not a complicated thing. The software, project management software, does this for you, and it will give you a whole list of alternatives because typically there's not a single answer. This is a little different than crashing. In crashing, it's an algorithm which will give you normally a single optimum or best answer. In the case of leveling, there is no algorithm that will give you a single answer. There's usually many alternatives. And so for any problem that I will give you, I simply ask you to make a single improvement. And everyone in class could have a different answer. That's fine. It's only an improvement. And there may be 10 or 15 different alternative ways of rebalancing the resource demand. So I hope this real simple example is helpful in giving you a better idea of how to deal with resource leveling. And if you don't wish to draw a chart like this, as I have drawn, you'll see in the book that they have a load chart, which is similar, and it's another way of looking at the resource demand. Let me know your questions. Thank you.